प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय। लक्ष्मी नरसिम्हा स्वामी की जय। राधा गोविंद की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयामुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25 and Text 26. Bhaktya Puman Jata Viragha Aindriyan Drusta Shrutan Madrachana Anuchintaya Chittasya Yattaha Grahane Yoga Yuktaha Yati Rujubhi Yogamargaihi Bhaktya Puman Jata Viraga Aindriyan Drustashrutan Mad Rachananu Chintaya Chittasya Yatto Grahane Yoga Yukto Yatishyate Rujabhi Yoga Margai Bhaktya Puman Jata Viraga Aindriya Drastashrutan Mad Rachananu Chintaya Chittasya Yatto Grahane Yoga Yukto Yatishyate Rujabhi Yoga Margai. Bhaktya, by devotional service, Puman, a person, Jata Viragaha, having developed distaste, Aindriyan, for sense gratification, Drusta, seen in this world, Shrutan, heard in the next world, Madrachana, my activities of creation, and so on. Anuchintaya, by constantly thinking about Chittasya, of the mind, yataha, engaged, grahane, in the control, yoga yuktaha, situated in devotional service, yatishyate, will endeavor, rujubihi, easy, yoga margaihi, by the processes of mystic power. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation: thus consciously engaged in devotional service in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification both in this world and in the next by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on the path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind. Please repeat. Thus consciously engaged in devotional service, in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification both in this world and in the next by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on that path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In all scriptures, people are encouraged to act in a pious way so that they can enjoy sense gratification not only in this life but also in the next. For example, one is promised promotion to the heavenly kingdom of higher planets by pious fruitive activities. But a devotee in the association of devotees prefers to contemplate the activities of the Lord, how He had created this universe, how He is maintaining it, how the creation dissolves, and how in the spiritual kingdom the Lord's pastimes are going on. There are full literatures describing these activities of the Lord, especially Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Samhita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. The sincere devotee who associates with devotees gets the opportunity to hear and contemplate this subject of the pastimes of the Lord, and the result is that he feels distaste for so-called happiness in this or that world, in heaven or on other planets. The devotees are simply interested in being transferred to the personal association of the Lord. They have no more attraction for temporary so-called happiness. That is the position of one who is yoga yukta. One who is fixed in mystic power is not disturbed by the allurement of this world or that world. He is interested in the matters of spiritual understanding or the spiritual situation. This sublime situation is very easily attained by the easiest process, Bhakti Yoga. Rujibhi Yoga Margai, a very suitable word used here is Rujibhi, a very easy. There are different processes of Yoga Marga attaining yoga perfection, but this process, devotional service to the Lord, is the easiest. Not only is it the easiest process, but the result is sublime. Everyone, therefore, should try to take this process of Krishna consciousness and reach the highest perfection of life. Tasansta Bhaktivedanta Purporto Madhyanathimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse talks about who can control the mind. Chittasya yattaha grahane. Who will be able to control the mind? Bhaktya puman jata viraga. Here it is mentioned that there is an easy yoga process. Rujubihi yoga margai. Yoga marga means the process of mystic power. Any yogic practice gives some kind of a power to the practitioner. And the easy process of this process of mystic power is yoga yuktaha, one who is connected to Krishna in devotional service. Only such person will be able to control his mind. And how one should engage in such service? Bhaktya puman jata viraga aindriya. One should be engaged in such devotional service consciously in the association of devotees. And the result is that is jata viraga aindriya. He gains distaste for sense gratification, either in this world or in the next world. Why? Because he is mad rachana anuchintaya. Rachana means his creation. He is constantly thinking about the creation, maintenance and dissolution done by Krishna in this world, by his potencies and by his energies, by his intelligence. So this is the Rujubi Yoga Margai. The easiest process of practicing yoga is the Krishna conscious practices. And Prabhupada, he explains that a devotee is not interested in the pious activities recommended in order to enjoy sense gratification either in this world or in the next world. He is interested by the blessing of a pure devotee. He becomes interested in contemplating on the activities of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. This is his, the mood of a devotee. Actually, identification with this body is the root cause of all our suffering and inauspiciousness. Without knowing that, doing some auspicious works will not help. The root cause is identification with this lump of body as oneself. And as soon as one identifies with this body, there are certain urges which comes out, which starts pushing the soul in an inauspicious path. The first urge is the urge to speak. This is the first urge. Everybody, every living entity constantly speaks. And there is a great urge to speak something. If somebody is not trained up in speaking about Krishna, and in the conditioned life, he speaks all kinds of useless things. Generally in the morning when we get up nowadays, got used to, we all look at our mobile first. Because we want to see if somebody has sent any message or something like that. And when we see today morning, there is a group in which I am present. That's my basically the engineering batch. I'm part of that group also. There's a heavy discussion going on. They're all in US and all that, so For us, it's morning, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. And for them, it's a active day. And you see there's so much of discussion. Somebody will write in a certain way, very intelligently. Immediately there are some 3-4 people who counteract, again giving some intelligent arguments, and both parties will go on discussing, and in about 15 minutes or so you have some 30-40 messages. Both the sides are discussing very heavily. People, particularly the karmis and jnanis and the materialistic plan makers, they speak in very nice, sweet, intelligent words. They elaborately discuss about what can happen this way, what can happen that way. Jai Radha Govinda ki jai. And the most inauspicious talk is the talk of a Mayavadi. If anybody hears this Mayavadi talk, because generally some of them are very good in their oratory powers, they speak very nicely, intelligently, with full reason and argument. Intelligently they distinguish the soul and matter. Intelligently they tell us how this world is temporary, and they also recommend some interesting methods to control the mind. They give some small tips for handling the mind and the senses. But overall, their talk is summarized by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Mayavadha Bhashya Sunile Haya Sharvanash. This is the conclusion. And they may be talking very nicely, intelligently, but the most inauspicious talk. They will have wonderful titles also, big titles, Maharaj and this and that. And if one gets addicted to listening to them, then their mind can never be controlled. Nectar of Instruction analyzes the flickering of the mind into 2 categories. One is called Avirodha Preeti. That means unrestricted attachment. Nowadays, in these mobiles, you have these reels or whatever going on, and if somebody gets attached to watching certain lectures or comments or some striking sentences of these karmis, jnanis and yogis and mayavadis, there's so many people they talk. Why they produce lot of content? Because that is the nature. See, every jiva produces lot of sound. This dove is continuously making sounds. Once one person was telling me that how the sounds of these birds and all, some birds are chirping and making sounds. He's saying they're so nice, Swamiji. I said all the sounds of these birds and animals and all that, they're all about eating, mating, sleeping and defending. How they can be auspicious? Simply engaging in the sounds of these 4 categories will only implicate the jiva more and more and increases this avirodha preeti. uncontrolled, unrestricted priti, attachment. So particularly Mayavadis, strictly one should avoid. One should not even think that, okay, he's telling something interesting. This pastime I didn't know, or this story I didn't know, this philosophical angle I didn't know. And if one gets attached to, say, what happens when you see one reel, then comes the next title. That also looks very attractive. And then reels are in such a way, just move a little bit, and again you can see one more. Avirodha. And who is there to stop you? Virodha means, there is some control, some stopping is there. So the whole Maya has given us such wonderful technology and packages. One can be avirodha priti. You can just develop attachment like anything. And that flickers the mind. The problem is, as you go on seeing and hearing all this, then it increases the flickering of the mind. But we want control of the mind, but we are progressing in opposite direction. You may say, Prabhu, very intelligent arguments are there, very interesting. He is also quoting Shloka, Veda, Upanishad, all those things. And looks very learned. And also full of tilakas all over his body. So why do you think you cannot, we cannot hear? It's not about tilaka or kanti or, the kind of things that they wear. One has to see in his talk, easy talking about surrendering to Krishna. How many times is remembering Krishna's name, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And then most importantly, our relation with Krishna, how is he saying? Sometimes they talk about Krishna, Radha so nicely. In the end, he will say, what is your goal? Yes, one day I want to become Krishna, he will say. Very inauspicious. That means he wants to enjoy energies. Krishna's energy, he wants to enjoy. So this is the speaking power has to be controlled. And strictly it has to be from Prabhupada books. Unless one reads Prabhupada books scrutinizingly, he cannot speak, he cannot utilize his speaking power nicely. One who is not careful in hearing can never be able to speak properly. And when he hears properly, then yes, he automatically speaks nicely, properly, in line with the philosophy. What is speaking nicely, speaking wonderfully? Are we referring to some material skills? Somebody may say, no, Prabhu, we are not so educated and we may not be even having a good language to speak. When we say nicely speaking means, it should be satisfying to Guru and Krishna, that's all. This is nicely speaking. Your mood of bhakti, your love for Krishna, that is what is important. You may not be able to even read also, you may not be able to even speak also, but still you will be accepted as a great devotee if you get attached to Krishna. Ultimately, our hearing and speaking should increase our attachment to Krishna. That is the goal. By becoming a good speaker and getting some, say, thousands and millions of views or this and that, let us say we are not getting attached to Krishna, then those speaking is simply compared to croaking of the frogs. That's all. So this is very important. So first is the urge to speak. Then these urges of the mind, one is avirodha priti. Unrestricted attachment is not good. Although that possibility of getting attached is easy now. It's available in your hand in the form of all these technologies. One should be very careful that he doesn't get attached to all this. Sometimes some practitioners of yoga, sometimes even Krishna conscious devotees, they'll say, Prabhu, no, once in a while, little break I need. So I'm seeing some humorous movies or some kind of harmless movies. I asked him, what is harmless? He said, no, Prabhu, there is no, what do you call, it doesn't break any regulative principles and all. That a very nice movie, whole family can see that kind of movies. There is no sinful things in this. Or I'm watching some humorous stuff. Actually, it all starts like that. Maya is very expert. It doesn't straight away start with something very wrong. Sometimes it starts with little. Okay, you start with so-called humor. Telugu, there is one actor, no, Brahmanandam, or somebody is there. Prabhu is a very good Prabhu. There is super Prabhu. He is. So not only seeing, now he is saying super. That means he is glorifying. Your words have to be careful. He is glorifying. And the next time anything connected to that person, that humorous person comes, again he gets attached. Okay, there's one more thing I'll say. Just see. Last. This is the last. So then, if somebody says, no, don't do all this, then it is called virodha yukta krodha. This is the second flickering in the mind. One is you're getting attached and go on doing all this. And if somebody stops you, virodha, the temple commander or some senior devotee will say, hey, Haribol, I'm seeing you hours together, you're spending time. Stop all these things. Immediately, virodha yukta krodha, anger comes. How, anger generally comes when, we are stopped from our desires for sense gratification. Anger means there is some kama is there already. And if the kama is opposed, kama is restricted, then immediately anger comes. Or any expectations are stopped, then immediately anger comes. That's why we should be very careful. So these are the flickerings of then the third urge is the urge of the body, which is again divided into three. Urge of the tongue, urge of the belly, and urge of the genitals. Prabhupada explains in one purport that these three are in a straight line. If somebody is not able to control the tongue, then he will not be able to control the other senses. This is a very important. Tongue control. So now this Rujubi Yoga Margai, the easy process of Bhakti Yoga is not about controlling the mind, it is about first controlling the tongue. All the yogic process, they talk about mind. They talk about how you can control the mind by samasana, pranayama, and various other processes. But this Rujibhi Yoga Marga, very interesting. Whenever we say, no, Prabhu, and they ask, we want to control our mind and what should we do? The first thing is to control the tongue. First control the tongue. I remember when we were in an old temple, one one person used to come to our classes in that small house. 10-15 people were used to be there. And then when he heard the statement of Bhagavatam that control of the mind begins with the tongue, he was shocked, because he got used to some other. They do meditation, they do so many kinds of processes are there to get the mind under control. Sometimes they are not able to get the mind under control. There is one more philosophy: make it blank. All the thoughts should be nullified and make it blank, because my thoughts are harassing. Those thoughts are not good for him. He knows that, so it is harassing. They want to make it zero. Somehow you make it blank. Actually, there is some kind of asanas, some processes are there by which sometimes mind can be apparently blank for some time. Somebody does Kapalabhati nicely, he feels some kind of a peaceful floating kind of an experience. But that's only for half a minute or half a second. And immediately you will see again thought starts harassing him. Only has to sit and do Kapalabhati. But still there is no chance. That's not the process. The process is as given by a spiritual master. Prabhupada has given how we can control the tongue. You may say, controlling the tongue is very easy. No, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that's the most difficult sense. Sometimes we think a difficult sense means something else. No, the most difficult sense is the tongue. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's verdict. Lobhomai sudurmati. This is a very big force, the force of the tongue. If somebody, it is said that there are 6 shadruchis, there are 6 tastes. And if anybody comes under the control of even one taste, he will not be able to control his tongue. Sometimes some people, they get attached to, actually outside many people, they get attached to this spicy food. They get attached to eating, putting some extra spice and tamarind, and they eat that kind of a food. Sometimes they get attached to sweets, too much sweet. Any one taste is sufficient. One will not be able to control the tongue. So that's, and somebody who is cooking, he will always want his own taste, his choice, his taste to be, because that's what the fight is in the outside world. They all want according to their choice, obviously. He wants to eat. But in Krishna conscious society, we go by the orders of the spiritual master. Then you may say ultimately somebody has to decide what are the varieties and what is the taste. That devotee, he is not thinking that it is for me. He is thinking of the welfare of the devotees, and also the occasion, the deities, what satisfies the deities ultimately. Let us say Janmashtami is there, we want to cook some milk products, butter, because we know Krishna, in his childhood pastimes, he is known as Makan Chor. So there is some kind of a calculation, understanding is there. In some acharyas' appearances or disappearances, we try to see what that acharya is liking. Sometimes sukta, sometimes kachori, sometimes this sweet, that sweet. So that's the devotee's thinking. So that they don't unduly mix up their inclination and taste in the deity's preparations. Ultimately, for the whole community, there are certain calculations. You have to balance. Sometimes in a community there will be North Indians, there will be South Indian, there will be East Indian. All those people are there. So automatically, he in the preference of in satisfying Krishna, there is a certain balancing act that we all have to do. So that's the tongue control is the most difficult aspect. For Prabhupada, let us say there is a Vyasa Puja time. Yes, kachoris. Prabhupada used to like kachori, so we used to make kachori. In his childhood, is one of the names of Prabhupada is Kachori Mukhi. That means in his mukha always there is one kachori. That's called Kachori Mukhi. So devotees, they understand, yes, my master Prabhupada, my guru, he likes kachori. So we go by his preference. So like that, a devotee should eat only Krishna Prasadam, and that too at proper timings. Not that Krishna Prasadam is there and the whole day it's like a grinding machine. Just go on grinding something in the mouth. No. One has to be, one has to exercise control of the tongue even with prasad. If somebody thinks, oh, this prasadam is very tasty, so let me just eat whatever and throughout the day, then he is falling under the dictates of the tongue. And secondly, whenever he is talking, he should only talk about Krishna. This is the speaking power. He should, his talking should have reference to Krishna. So that's why here it is mentioned, Madrachana Anuchintaya. He is thinking about Krishna's, how Krishna created. And he talks about that. And he is thinking, contemplating on that. And whatever he sees, he knows it's all created by Krishna. And how intelligently, how nicely. Prabhupada gives example of a flower. When a devotee sees the flower, he sees the intelligence behind that. There is a creative brain behind that. Because only a creative person can paint a flower. He uses various colors, some kind of a intelligence, and then he paints a flower. But still, such flowers are not so real, or, they're not as impressive as the original flower. So just to create this canvas flower, we appreciate his intelligence and creative ability. Now what about the actual flower? So a devotee has to contemplate on this. But the best contemplation is contemplation about service to Krishna. This is the best kind. If somebody is absorbed in the details of his service, then that is the best contemplation. So, in our conditioned life, we have to have a combination of all this. Thinking about services, thinking about Krishna's this philosophy, his name, pastimes. There's so many things to think about. So when a devotee does like that, then he will be able to, he is known as Yoga Yuktaha. And then only in that platform of Yoga Yukta, he'll be able to control his mind and senses. And one simple way, let us say you may say, no, I don't have that intelligence to think about Rachananu Chintaya, to think about all these things intelligently and all that. Not an issue. There is a very simple process to control our mind, and that is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and then attentively hear. That service is the most pleasing. We'll stop here. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki